All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you jumping on to FFL Republics. It's going to be mixed with Vertical, Redemption, and Guardian as well. So what we wanted to do was have an opportunity to sit with all of you. You're either in contracting or you have been writing for less than 30 days. And so what we wanted to do was have a different type of training. Week after week, we have Grady's call, our call, and you're going to learn a lot of the fundamentals of how to pull out emotions and really to zone in on your skills of what it's going to take to close an appointment, right? To help the families. What this is going to be meant for is just nuts and bolts. And what I mean by that is what it takes to get from point A to point B in an appointment. Right? We want to make sure that we're setting the table, that we're showing up with the right things, and that we know exactly what to do from the very beginning to the end. So that's what we're going to spend a lot of time on. Julius and I are going to role play. And so we want to make sure that you guys know exactly what to do just moving forward. Okay, so I am going to share my screen just so we can kind of go over a few things. Now, as far as expectations, I want to make sure that you guys are all expecting the right things. There are a lot of people that come in and they kill the business right away. And I know it can be hard to compare. And so I want to make sure that you guys are giving yourself some grace. There is a learning curve. We want to make sure that you understand in the very beginning that there's gonna be times where you purchase leads, you're gonna have different results than others. So just give yourself some grace. Understand that this is a very simple business, but it is hard work. You have to, week after week, be willing to do the same things over and over. What I mean by that is you have to purchase leads, call them. There's no point in buying them if you're not going to work them. And then the third thing is go out and help families. There are going to be days where you have no shows and it's exhausting, but remember, we're business owners and our bad days are sitting in our air conditioned car and getting a no-show, right? Like I'll take that any day over a normal bad day in corporate world. So take ownership. Make sure while you guys are new, if you guys are in a home and you feel like you should have got a sale or you know that you did something wrong, lean up on your upline. Make sure that you're talking through those things so that you can change that in the next appointment. And really just adapting to your environment, knowing that we're all going through the same things, finding a running buddy maybe, or someone that can hold you accountable. But the biggest thing is don't quit. Make it to month 10 and you'll have seen everything that there is to do in this business. So moving on. Contracting. So for those of you that are still in contracting, make sure that you are working with someone to get through that as quickly as possible. We want to make sure that you guys are making money and that you guys are doing that as quickly as possible. There's nothing like speed. So make sure you're finishing your insurance pay, HCMS, anything that there's outstanding, you have an uploaded check. These are little things that are going to stop you from getting paid out. Make sure that the carriers have your bank account and all of that. Okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on contracting because that's not what today is about. But just wanted to bring that up. As far as boot camp, as soon as you guys are in contracting, make sure you guys are going through boot camp. If you guys are in your first week and you don't feel as prepared as you should, then go through the boot camp again. I went through it twice. It can't hurt. You're going to learn a lot of different things. I will say that if you do the boot camp before you start and then after, you're going to pick up different things because you're going to know what it's like to be in the field. So give yourself an opportunity to be successful. And the best way to do that is knowledge. Make sure you're always taking notes on the calls and be intentional with your training. Okay. This is just giving me a little bit of issue because it's behind the, there we go. All right. Now, as far as leads, if you guys want to jot this down, you guys should be having lead conversations with your leaders. But if you're wanting to get more in depth as well, you can go onto this link and schedule a call with the Sasha or one of her teammates to be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth. And then the CRM, we want to make sure you guys have access. If you guys are new and don't have access to the CRM, make sure and reach out to one of us, get comfortable with the CRM, how you're going to purchase your leads, where they're going to go, how you're going to manage them. There is a YouTube on there that will help to train you, but if you need any help, reach out to us. Don't reach out to Mimi. This is a little bit outdated. If you need help, just reach out to your upline, okay? And then this is going to be something that I really want to go over, what you're going to take to your appointment. And at that point, then Julius and I are going to do a little bit of role play. So I'm going to be very visual with this. I have a bag. My bag is very heavy. There is so much stuff in this bag that is going to set me up to leave with $1,500 premiums. Okay. So the first thing that is going to be needed is an iPad. If you don't have an iPad that has Wi-Fi, you need to make sure you have some kind of internet. We have to remember we're going into homes that don't have a ton of money all the time. So there's not always going to be an opportunity to jump on their Wi-Fi. So if you don't have an iPad, go to your phone carrier. It's like $35 to purchase one and then add Wi-Fi into it. And you can expense that, guys. So it's a no-brainer. If you're going to try to work with a laptop, it's going to slow you down. So make sure you have an iPad. One of the things that I think is crucial in the iPad is your favorites bar. For anyone that wants to make sure they're set up in your favorites, these are the things that you want to download. Make sure that you guys are writing this down. You want to make sure you have your quote tool pulled up. There's nothing like being in a home and not having the things prepared, okay? So you want to have your quote tool set up. I'm sorry, that has a glare. Your quote tool set up. You also want to make sure whatever carriers you have that you are registering. So you're each going to get an email and it will tell you that you're appointed. When you have that, you do have to register with them. Make sure that you auto save and then save the bookmark for them. So as you guys can see, oh, you guys can't see that. I have like Americo, Trans-America, Mutual of Omaha. That is going to be because you're going to go into the quote tool and you want to have all of your information saved. If you're trying to find passwords and your contracting numbers, it's going to be a hot mess. Okay, you guys are already learning, so just set yourself up for success. So those are going to be the main things that you want to have uploaded. The other thing that you want to have is the financial inventory. So I have a folder. I got this for $1 from Walmart. It has everything that I need because I can put my business cards. These are the door knockers for those of you that have not ordered these. These are on FFL America. I'm sorry, not America, but Family First Life. These are when you go out and door knock. There's nothing like wasting time. If you're going to drive to their house and they're not there, they're not going to know you were there. So this is just, you put your information. So you want to make sure you have these for when you're door knocking. And then on one side, I have my financial inventory. And then I have all of my material from the carriers. So as you guys start get appointed, make sure that you're calling the carriers or logging in and requesting the sales material because it's just going to build credibility. If you walk in and you're not having anything tangible, you can still make sales that way. I did the first few weeks, but there's nothing like being able to hand them this while you're pulling up the quotes. It just gives you more time and something for them to look at. So financial inventory can be found on FFL America under downloads. This is going to be key. We're going to talk about this more in depth in just a few minutes. The other thing that I have printed out, this is going to be from the downloads as well, is the congratulations. So this is really going to lock it in. This sounds silly, but when you go to the downloads, this is going to say name, number. I visited a home last week that had already sat with an FFL agent, and I swear right here, it said name, phone number, and title. That agent didn't put their information in it, so they had no idea who their agent was. So if you're going to download this, put your information in, okay? So that will be another thing. Aside from my folder, I have a binder. Now this is, I know a little bit of a glare, sorry, but this is my Arizona state license. I am licensed in multiple states, so I have all of my other states back here. And when I travel, I just slide it in front and then I'm good to go. Okay, so when you're walking in a home, you want to have your license. The other thing is your credibility sheet. This tells them what we're doing and what carriers we use. Okay, inside of this, I have the cheat sheets, which are also on FFL America under products. So this is going to show you, this is the final expense. And then I have the term one back here. So it's going to have the grid, all of the products and things like that. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I do want to tell you guys how important it is that you guys bookmark this for yourselves. So when you're setting up your iPad, make sure you're bookmarking the cheat sheet. Now, how you read this, and again, not going to go too much into it. How you read this is if you go into a home and Julius, I asked him what he has, and he says that, he has COPD. All you're going to do is you're going to go down this list and you're going to go down to COPD, and it's going to say up here, Mutual of Omaha, it's going to have our carriers. So if they have COPD, you just go to that line and it's going to tell you. So that's how you get good at underwriting. The first 20 homes plus, you're going to call your upline, but you do eventually want to get good at this, especially for those of you that are going to build, because this is how you underwrite. So if I'm sitting in a home with Julius tells me he has COPD, neuropathy, and is on an okay, you're going to go to COPD, and basically it's saying standard is Aetna. So if there's something that you can do standard, you're going to look at that one. But you can also do prosperity. So what you'll do next is you'll go to neuropathy, because they have multiple things. Neuropathy, I see prosperity and Aetna are still good, but Aetna is now modified. So what we're doing, guys, is this is a funnel. That's how you underwrite. If they have multiple things going on, how you get down to the root of where to go is by funneling it out. And then I said oxygen, so I'll see right above the oxygen, none of them take them. So at this point, I thought I was going to be able to go Aetna or prosperity. I get to the oxygen, I see it's only going to be guaranteed issue. So that's a little bit of how beneficial this will be to have it in your home. There is the genie. So I want to remind you guys that the genie is going to be there, but do not use them in the very beginning, because in the very beginning, you need to learn the product and how to present to the client. So if you call me or your leader in an appointment, we're not just going to say, go Aetna. We're going to say, go Aetna and show 10, 15, 20,000. We're going to tell you how to build value and kind of help you guys build that confidence in the beginning until you guys can go to the genie. Okay. As far as business cards, we all have different ones. I've seen Julius's, Clay's. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the same thing. Just make sure you have, I did my picture, but your license, your title, and then I just on the other side, guys, I'm really sorry, I might have to move my seat. But I just put like mortgage protection, planning, and all of that. So business cards, you can go onto Vistaprint, you can get a ton of them. Underwriting cheat sheets, we talked about. A badge, I do have a badge. I got it off of Zazzle, like 10 or 15 bucks. The other thing is, these are on Family First Life apparel as well. I wear these every day. I used to wear normal street clothes, and I just decided it's easier. I look more like an underwriter in a collared shirt than in a flower shirt. So I just feel like I'm more the part. We talked about door knocking stickers, and then making sure you have your writing numbers. And then we talked about the marketing. So I think that checklist is done. All right. So again, just a reminder, this is not going to be about how I'm going to make a sale. What I'm trying to teach you guys is how to fill this out properly so that your upline can help you make the sale. Okay, so I am going to do role play with Julius, and we're going to go all the way through this because I want you to hear exactly how in depth that I go. Because if you're not filling this information out, chances are you're going to leave without a sale because you've missed something. So even though this form is in the order it is in, I go in a different order, and I can guarantee most people do because they go in order of importance of what we need to get from the client. So I'm going to pretend like I just sat down with Julius and I'm here for final expense. Okay, so I'm going to sit down with this in my hand after I've shown them my state license and the credibility sheet. Okay, as soon as I sit down, hey Julius, I'm here for our appointment. Here is my state license. On the other side, you will see a few of the carriers that we work with. What this will do is allow me to, once we identify what kind of health you're in and what you're looking to do, I'll give a few recommendations, and then I'll help you submit for coverage. Okay, now I'm jumping into the financial inventory. So Julius, tell me, if you were not to have coverage and didn't come home yesterday, who would be the one that would be burdened with that?
My daughter.
Your daughter. Okay. And what's your daughter's name?
Bella.
Bella. Okay. All right. And then Julius, I have you as Julius Gilger. Can you remind me how old you are?
65.
All right, 65. And then what is your exact date of birth?
March 23rd, 1960.
Okay, great. So Julius, what we're going to do today is we're going to go over a few minutes of financials and a few minutes of health questions. This way I can understand what the need is, and then I can better help and give you some options. Does that sound fair enough?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So do you own or rent this place?
I own.
You own. Okay. And then is this a 15, 20, or a 30-year mortgage?
It's 30, but I got about 25 left.
Okay. Okay. And then what is the house valued at?
350.
350. Okay, perfect. So you have quite a bit of equity in this home. Perfect. And then what do you do, Julius?
For work?
Yes, for work.
Oh,
are you still working?
Yeah, I'm still working. About to retire soon, but I do transportation.
Transportation. Okay, great. Now, as far as monthly income after taxes, how much money do you typically bring home?
After taxes, about 4,500.
Okay, 4,500. Now, aside from your mortgage, what kind of big bills do you have that take out a big chunk of that 4,500? Do you have a car note, electric, things like that? About how much would that be?
My car payment's about 400. And then outside of that, just kind of your basic stuff, right? Cell phone, electricity and things like that. So my cell phone's like $130 and my electricity is usually around 150 to $200 depending on the time of year.
Okay. Okay. So about how much would you say total?
All my expenses? I'd say probably around close to $3,000.
$3,000. Okay. So what I'm hearing is you have about 1,500 right now left over to help with additional expenses and kind of play money. Is that fair to assume?
Yeah, give or take. It's probably after all said and done, probably closer to 1,000, but.
Okay. So closer to 1,000. Okay.
Yep.
No problem. Now, we're going to jump into medical conditions. That's really going to be what helps me identify where we can go with this. Have you ever had a heart attack?
No, thank God.
What about a stroke?
Nope.
TIA?
What's that?
It's a mini heart attack?
No.
No. Okay. How about cancer?
Nope.
Stents?
Nope.
Diabetes?
Nope.
No. Neuropathy?
No.
No. Okay. You're pretty healthy. What about high blood pressure?
Yeah, I do got some high blood pressure.
Okay. Okay. Any lupus or rheumatoid arthritis?
No, thank God.
Okay. Asthma or COPD?
No, I mean, I had an inhaler back in the day, but I've never been diagnosed as having COPD or anything like that.
Okay.
I had asthma as a kid though.
Okay. So no Spiriva, it's just albuterol.
Yeah. Yeah. And It's been a while since I've actually taken it too.
Okay. And then any thyroid issues?
Nope.
Anxiety or depression?
None that I've been prescribed, but yes.
Then you're good in my book.
Okay.
Any kidney or liver disease?
No.
Okay. Now, Julius, outside of the medical conditions I listed, is there anything that I should be made aware of? Any kind of, AIDS or one-off situations?
I mean, I take some other medications.
Okay, we're going to jump into that. But as far as conditions, you've never been diagnosed with anything outside of the list I just went over?
No, nothing like major. No.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Now let's talk about your medications. You said albuterol, but you did say you have high blood pressure. What are you on for that?
Can't remember the name. I think it's like
Is it lisinopril?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And guys, I do that very often. When they say they have high blood pressure, the better you get at learning these medications, you're going to sound like the expert. They're going to be like, oh, you've done this. I'm like, yep, not my first rodeo, Julius, right? And then they kind of chuckle, and you're building a little bit of rapport, but without having to like go look at their rock collection for 30 minutes, right? You just want to get them engaged in the conversation. So make sure that you're doing those things. Also, to speak about the prescriptions, in the very beginning, it's going to be very uncomfortable for you to start saying atorvastatin and things like that, because it's not natural, right? We're not doctors. We didn't go and study this. So when you're calling your upline and we're making you go through the prescriptions, I can attest that Julius and Clay both do this. I've never had to call Nate or John, but if Larry, on your first day, you call Julius and you're like, and he's on Julius is probably going to be atorvastatin, and he's not doing it to correct you, and I'm not doing it to correct you. What I'm doing is I want you to hear the words so that you get acclimated to it, and then eventually you'll know all of the prescriptions as well. Okay, so that's just a little bit on the prescription. So we'll move forward. We don't have to go too in depth. Now, I didn't ask, are you a smoker, Julius?
No.
No. Okay, very good. All right. Now, Julius, if I was not sitting here today, do you have any life insurance put in place right now to protect your family?
No, no, I don't.
None. Okay. Okay. So you're 65 and you don't have any protection. Can I ask you why? Is it just you didn't think you would qualify, or just procrastination?
I didn't think I really needed it. And then I just kind of put it off. And I realized the older I'm getting, the more I probably do need it.
Okay. I see why I'm here. Okay. Now, as far as additional income, do you have any kind of 401k, IRA, stocks, anything like that?
No, I really haven't done any of that.
Okay. So no significant savings. So if something were to happen to you, Bella has nothing for your final expenses. Like, she's on her own.
Well, I mean, I got a little bit saved up. I mean, she could probably take care of some of it. I got about 10, 15 grand saved up, but.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good job for that. I mean, that's better than nothing. But what I'll do today is, once we get done with this, we'll try to put you in a better position so we don't have to worry about Bella. Okay. Now, just so you guys know, that this part on the 401k and asking about those things, that's really going to help you guys with an annuities later on. You do still want to get into the habit of asking about those things, but we're not annuity chasing in the very beginning. You guys just want to get your feet wet. We are here to sell final expense and mortgage protection. Okay. Eventually, as time goes on, you will learn annuities, and they will, I mean, they'll put a lot of money in your pocket, but please don't worry about chasing those in the beginning. That's not what this business is. But just get yourself used to asking those, and then you'll learn how to find those annuities. The other thing on the end of here is about identity theft. Really, all it is that's an opportunity for you to sell them a shield. I don't personally have it, but you guys can do that. It's kind of just a waste. Like, focus on the insurance as opposed to a small little identity theft. You can ask if they have a will, and then offer them the free, you can do your own will. I believe it's doyourwill.forfree.com or something like that. I personally don't really talk about that. I try to get in and out of my appointments as fast as possible, with building enough value for me. So just so you know, you don't need that information, but you can get into the habit of doing that. So let's just pretend I have all of this filled out. And now I'm going to call Julius as if he's my upline. Now, this is how I preface it. And what you need to remember is the client doesn't know what they don't know. And what I mean by that is they don't know that I'm brand new. The only way your client is going to know you're brand new is if you tell them, which I don't advise, right? Just be the expert. And when you're calling your upline, the only way they would think it was weird is if you acted like it was weird. So for me, it's just part of the process, right? Well, so what I do once I have this financial inventory, this is exactly what I say. All right, Julius, so since I'm sitting here with you and I'm not behind a screen, I can't remember all these medications. So I just want to double check with my senior underwriter to make sure that I'm going in the right direction. And then they just look at me and say, okay. And then I call my upline, right? So it's just very nonchalant, no big deal. It's part of your process. So at this point, and if you guys have this in front of you, I would put a 1, 2, 3 by the things that we want to hear. okay? Because that's really going to be important. When you're calling your upline, you have to remember we're all in the fields, right? We're not sitting at our home or on a golf course. Like, we're out working too. So a lot of times when we're answering, we're interrupting our sale to answer the call. So we want to get to the point and get you guys the information as quickly as possible, okay? So the first thing you want to do before you call your upline is you're going to take a picture and text it to us, okay? Make sure it goes through before you call. Just take a picture and text it. Once you call us, do not, hey, Julius, how's it going? You don't need to be nice to us. You're not going to hurt our feelings. Get straight to the point. If you start having a conversation with us, we're not going to know you're in a home. And really, you're not our friend, right? In front of the client, we're just somebody sitting at a call center helping you guys out. We're just the senior underwriter. So when you call us, this is exactly how I would do it. Hey, Julius, I'm sitting in a home. I'm with Julius. He's 65. He is a non-smoker. As far as medical conditions go, he has high blood pressure and used to have some asthma. The medications he's on are X, Y, Z, and he's looking for. That is the key for us. Don't make us guess, right? So if you guys are in an appointment and you're trying to get mortgage protection, there's an age that it can be tricky. If they're like 55 to 65, sometimes people still want term, sometimes they want whole life. So it helps us to just know if you're thinking a mortgage protection or in a final expense. A lot of the times our answer is going to dictate what you can do anyway, but it just helps us to know. And so at that point, I'm going to just say, okay, Julius, go ahead and write Americo Eagle. Do you know how to get into that app? And just remember, never put us on speaker, ever. Never put someone on speaker. We're going to be there to guide you and help you get the sale. And the last thing you want your client to hear is us tell you, go get them, or this is how you're going to show them, and things like that. So just make sure that we're not on speaker and that you're ready to write. So when you call, I'm going to just say, okay, Julius, write down Americo Eagle. And if you told me they're looking for just burial, I'm still going to probably say, go ahead and quote 10, 15, and the max is 30. We always show the max, guys. So show two numbers pretty close to what they want. So if Julius was just looking for funeral and final expenses, it's typically about 10 to 15,000. So I'm going to show 10, 15, and 30. And when I show that, I'm just going to write it on the back, right? I'm just going to I'm going to write it in big letters, how much it is. I wrote it big so you guys can see, but so let's just say I did this. Now you're going to slide it over to them, and I'm going to say, okay, Julius, of these, which would you like to leave Bella? And you just wait. You don't have to say anything. Most times they pick the middle one, but again, we're not really focusing on the sale. I just want you guys to know the fundamentals. One thing I do want to go over with you guys that I think really helped me to lock down the objections of Social Security and all of that. But before we move on, I did miss one thing, is when I'm asking about their mortgage, I say, great, who do you bank through? The reason why I ask when it's by the mortgage is because it just seems like a natural transition, because they obviously have a mortgage, they have to pay with that. But that helps to know if they don't have a bank account, you know right away, or if they only have a direct express, there's only a few carriers we can use with that. So that's important. So please know, if you guys are new and you guys run into someone that has direct express, when you call your upline, make sure we know that, because we're probably going to direct you to Americo, but if they have direct express, we have to go another way. So make sure you're finding out if they have a bank account. Okay. Julius, I'm going to pause before I do my drawing. Is there anything on the financial inventory that you can throw in?
So a few things, guys. So when you're asking how much they owe on the mortgage, or you also want to ask the value of the home. That's one thing that you want to do, right? So if you ask, all right, how much do you still owe on your mortgage? $350,000. All right. What's the approximate value of your home? 500. Okay. So you got about 150,000 in equity. That's great. We want to make sure we have something in place to protect that, right? So you're putting a seed in their mind. Hey, okay, great. And it's just the difference, right? Whatever the value is minus the mortgage, that's the difference in the equity. The other thing I would say is, Erica said something earlier that I don't know that you guys caught on, but it's just a quick little phrase. When I said, she asked me a question about what would happen if something happened to me, what would that look like for Bella? And I responded and she said, that's exactly why I'm here. Oh, I see why I'm here today. Those little lines make a very big deal, and you want to incorporate that into your presentation because you're planning messages and you're communicating to the client that, oh, okay, I see why I'm here today. And they're like, and subliminally, they're like, yes, that's exactly why you're here today, right? So you want to throw those little things in there. These are confirmations that you're putting out there. And if they, balk at that for any reason, then you're going to be able to address it, but most people don't. So these are little things that help out. The other thing is, and I put this in the chat, when you're calling your manager for help, you just got done through the financial inventory, you sent a text message, don't walk away to make the phone call. That's weird, right? Like if you walk away, the client's like, the hell is he doing? Why is he leaving? Like, you know what I mean? Like I did that when I started, and I'm like in the corner, like, hey Grady. And then Grady's like, what are you doing? Why are you talking like that? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm calling you. And he's like, just call in front of your person. Like, don't make it weird. I'm like, okay, cool. So I've had a few people recently do that. So I wanted to remind you guys, just do it in front of the person. It's no big deal. Hey, give me a moment. I'm going to call my senior underwriter. I want to make sure we're getting a second opinion to get you the best that we can possibly do for you. Now they also feel comfortable with you because you're confirming what you're doing, and it's not just what you say, right? You're calling someone else for help, third-party validation. So to them, they're like, okay, this guy's going, or girl is going the extra mile to make sure we got the best thing. And then the other thing I would say is just get right into it. Hey, I'm sitting here with a client, right? So when you're calling your manager, hey, Eric, I'm sitting here with a client. You got a moment? Yes. Okay. Hey, or you don't even say you got a moment. Hey, I'm sitting here with a client, Mary, John, go through their ages, their income, go through the major stuff. So you're going to go through age, income, smoking, medications, and medical condition. We just need to hear it quick and what they're looking for. Okay. So I'll repeat that again. You're going to go through age, if they're a smoker, their income, what they're looking for, and their medications and medical conditions. That's what we want to hear quick. That's what's going to help us. Now, the other thing that Erica didn't mention is sometimes we're busy, right? Like if we're in the middle of a presentation or trying to close and help a family, we may not be able to answer. That's not normally the case, but it will happen, okay? The other thing I encourage every one of you to do is leverage the underwriting genies. There's 69 of you guys on this call right now. If you all called any one of your managers, there's only a handful of us, right? There's 7-to-1 ratio at least. So the underwriting genies can process and help a lot faster. If you guys aren't familiar with them, you go to the Slack application, you go to the in-home help channel, and you can put in the exact information into there, and you'll get a response in 60 seconds. So that way you don't have to call us, right? So it's either one. So make sure you do that. And then there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Can't think of it. I lost it. But there was
one. If you think of it, just jump back in.
Yeah, but those are the main things there that I would say. The one last thing I would mention is when you're doing your quote and you are showing them the max. Here's the phrase. Here's the way I say it. Hey, because these are state regulated programs, we're required to show you the maximum amount you're eligible for. I'll repeat that again. Because these are state regulated programs, I'm required to show you the maximum amount you're eligible for. So you always show that one first at the top, and you do top-down selling when you write down your quotes. And we actually call them options, not quotes. Here are your options, Bob and Mary, not here are your quotes. You don't want to be a quote guy. You want to give people options to help them make a decision. So the top, when you list them from top to bottom, the top one is always the biggest amount of coverage with the highest premium, then the next one and the next one, and explain how those programs relate directly to the client. Here's the maximum amount you're eligible for, Bob and Mary. It's $30,000, which will pay for your burial and leave about 10 grand for your daughter. The middle option's 20 grand. That should pay for your burial. Probably won't leave much behind as legacy protection. And the bottom option will cover the bare minimum to make sure your burial's covered. Of these three options, which one makes the most sense for your final expense protection to protect your daughter? And then you pause, you wait, they pick one, and you say, okay, great. Grab your driver's license and a voided check. I'll help you fill out an application. We'll see if we can get you approved.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what I want to do next, if you guys are taking notes, this is something you guys can draw. If not, I can always post something a little bit more professional. But after what Julius just did, you slide it over, they pick an option, you circle it. The next thing I do, literally without even looking, I don't ask them, are you sure? Do you want to think about it? I literally look at them and I say, okay, great. Julius, this is how it's going to go. Because these are non-medical, they have to know who you are some way. So how they're going to do that, and I want to give credit where credit is due. This is something that Nate Fadala taught me. So I love it. I've tweaked it a little bit, and this helps me to not get, I won't give you my social or not being able to get the bank account. Okay. Since I started doing this, it's like 1% that happens. So what I do is, so Julius, how they do that is they use your social security number, and I'm literally drawing this out for them right in front of them. I square it, your social security number, and what that does is that pulls up your MIB, which is your medical history report. The other thing that they do is they validate the bank. Now, guys, I'm using the word validate on purpose, and I even write it. And I say, Julius, the reason I say validate is because they're not pulling anything. What they're doing is they're making sure one of two things. One, that this is truly your account, and two, that it's not from overseas, because you can't do that. That's insurance fraud. I don't have to worry about that with you, do I, Julius? And then they almost forget that they don't want to give you the bank account, and they like laugh and they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, perfect. So what I'm here for today is the application. And I always say, you have to have someone to do this. You cannot do this by yourself. They have to have someone that shows you're not on oxygen, you're not 500 pounds, things like that. So from the application, it is going to be anywhere from 1 to 5 days for that to tell us. Like I said, Julius, we can't make any decisions today. All we're going to do is submit for coverage. Okay. So from here, one of two things is going to happen. And this is how I'm engaging them. I say, what do you think? And then they're like, approved. I'm like, exactly. You're approved or you're denied. Very simple, right? And so I'm writing approved or denied. And I think this part is really important because it relieves pressure. And I say, and Julius, if you're denied, nothing happens. Because like I said, they're just validating this. They're not taking anything. So now I'm just reiterating that it's a validation. They don't have to worry. They can give it to me, no problem. But Julius, if they do approve you, which is why I'm here, like there'd be no point of me doing this if you didn't want it. That's what we hope for. They will expect first payment. And I just write it, first payment. This way they can't say I didn't tell them, right? Now, this piece is important. I've now drawn this whole thing out. They know step one, what we're going to do and what we're hoping for, right? If at this point I'm looking at the client and they're like, okay, and I say, Julius, does that make sense? And Julius says, yeah. All I do is I just look up, I say, okay, great. I'm going to need you to grab your driver's license and whatever bank account you're going to use. And I just grab my laptop and I start. Like, I don't make it weird. I don't like, I'm going to need yours. No, I just say, okay, great. If he doesn't have any questions, neither do I. So now I just give him direction of next step, which is I need your driver's license and your banking information, and they go get it. Now, this part I like, and this is where I kind of incorporated is if at this point, Julius is like, I mean, you're going to need the bank information today, right? You reiterate, it's a validation. He's like, I really need to think about this. Julius, The nice thing is right in between here, there's this beautiful 30-day window, okay? Now, I only do this if I get hesitation, but I write 30 days. So Julia, like I said, we can't make any decisions today. They're going to let us know. It's going to be 1 to 5 days for them to even tell us, do you think that's enough time? Most times they say yes. And I say, okay, great. So what we'll do is we'll submit for the most affordable one for you. If you're looking at a higher one, just, downsell if you have to, right? Whatever makes them comfortable, because honestly, it's going to save you chargebacks anyway if you're pushing a high sale and they're really weary. So if you have one of those clients, just say, Julius, let's just put in for the most affordable one. You have a full 30 days to make any changes up and down. And then, it's a quick phone call. The one thing I do want to say is if you're going to use this 30 days, don't say you have 30 days to cancel. We never use the word cancel ever, okay, ever. All I say is, and this is just for the think abouters, that's it. And if he was good to go and had no questions, you just ask and you move on. But if there's this will save, this is saved probably at least 50% of my think about it, because I never really knew how to object. And this is like a very clear, I'm not going to take the bait. It's going to take a few days. And now you have 30 days, like it's right in front of their face. Like, what do you have to think about, Julius? And they're like, okay. I'm like, okay, perfect. Go grab your driver's license. And then I just start typing without hesitation. So, Julius, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I would just say when you're going to get the banking info, there's a few key things outside of what Erica shared. Don't be weird. Like, don't be weird about it, right? Like, anywhere you go, all right, how do you want to pay for that? You go to a grocery store, you go in a Subway, all right, they know you're going to ask it, right? So like, it's all about how you ask. If you start fumbling and like, yeah, so like, can you grab your license and your form of payment, right? Like, they're going to feel it, they're going to sense it. Don't make it a big deal. The more emphasis you put on it, the bigger issue it becomes with your client. If you make it like it's no big deal, all right, just go ahead and grab your driver's license and a voided check or your banking info, and we'll see if we can get you approved. And then just go about your thing. Don't stare at them and like wait, right? Like just continue, just keep moving. It's no big deal. They're just going to get up and follow your direction. So that's the one tip that I would say there that I think new folks normally struggle with, is they fumble there, or they feel like they give them a stare down, like, all right, go ahead and grab your driver's license and a voided check and we'll see if we can get you approved. And like they do one of those, like, what are you doing? Like the person's like, what? Like, so just nonchalant, no big deal. Just say it. And then get your, like Erica said, just pull up the application and keep moving.
Yep, absolutely. And honestly, I think that was a lot of the fundamentals that I wanted to go over today. Julius was gracious enough to jump on and help us as well. I think this next few weeks are really important. The biggest thing to know is don't be the person that writes one and then doesn't work for a week and then writes a second one. Like, go in, right? If you're going to invest in leads, work the leads, set your appointments, and keep moving forward. The only way for you guys to get good at this is repetition. There are some phenomenons that come through and they're great day one, but that's not always the case, right? This is a muscle. You have to build it up. So give yourself the advantage. Appointments are the advantage. If you're doing a few appointments here and there, you're not going to have the consistency, one, for the money to be coming into your bank to buy new leads, and two, for you to really, craft this thing, because you're going to learn word tracks. Like I said, make sure that you guys jump in and that you're invested in FFL. So for Grady's call, you're on every week. For our call, you're on every week, and come to those meetings with intention. If any of you came to this meeting without a pen and paper, shame on you, right? But that's how the meeting should be too. Like, don't jump on our Thursday calls just to check it off a box and say you did it. Like, come to learn and know that I've been in this business for only 10 months and I learn new things every single week, new nuggets. Like, there's constantly new people coming in. Caitlin Blackburn came in and she just changed the business. And I listened to her and I'm like, man, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I don't. Like, that's why I have a ton of notes, right? So just constantly be learning and constantly be getting better. And then one of the last things I do want to say is be coachable, right? We cannot help you guys if you're not interacting, if you go MIA. I think a lot of times, we have GroupMe, and that's a great way for us all to come together and be able to help and ask questions and cheer each other on. But the people that are not doing things tend to be very quiet in those. But in reality, the people that aren't making a ton of sales should be the ones that are talking more, right? Asking more questions and making sure that you're getting in front of it. So be coachable. If you want to call your upline or find a mentor that you just connect with, I think that that's really important, is constantly just get better. Julius, anything else?
No, I think that's good. Let's go into some Q&A. First off, whoever has an iPhone that's unmuted, please mute your line. I'm not sure who it is. I messaged you a bunch of times, but someone's got an iPhone that's unmuted. Mute your line. All right. So let's go through. I answered some of the questions. If you guys have a question, drop it in the chat. We will get to it. Erica, when we're done, Jason asked for the diagram. Can you just take a picture of it and then post it in the GroupMe?
Yeah.
Chat? Do that. That way everyone has their own copy. There was a question here, Robert Morales. He asks, what about newer agents who don't have all their codes back yet? Meaning, what if we go in a home and you say go prosperity, but we don't have that yet? What then? Great question, Robert. So when you're new and maybe you just have a few of your writing numbers, what you want to do is you want to let your manager know, for example, you call Erica and you say, hey, I'm sitting with a client. You go through the scenario and then you say, hey, just a heads up, here are the carriers I have at this point. America, Aetna, etc. Now, prosperity is going to be the first one you're going to have every time, but I understand where you were going with it. So just tell us what you have, and then we will help you figure out which carrier to write. Because if we don't know, we're going to tell you something, and then if you're like, well, I don't have it, then the client's hearing I don't have it, and then they're like, what? They don't know what's going on. So just be more proactive and just say, hey, the carriers that I'm currently appointed with are Americo, Mutual, AIG, or you can even put it in your text proactively. It's probably even better. So once you text the financial inventory, you send to your manager, here are the carriers I have right now. And then when you call, we already have a heads up and we can see it. So that way it's just a much smoother interaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, right. Speaking of carriers, I mean, really, we want to be focusing on Americo. And actually, I wanted to talk about this and I forgot. So I'm glad this came up. Americo is going to be all the way. It's going to be better coverage for our clients. It's immediate coverage. It's going to pay you more. And it has double indemnity, living benefits. So there are all these great things. But on top of that, it also gives you 8% to just do your job. So if you're writing Americo and you do 45,000 worth of business within 6 months, they give you an 8% check. So I would have written Americo anyway. And in June or July, whenever that released, I got a $7,000 check, non-charge backable, for writing the best product that we had anyway. It's really a no-brainer. But one thing I did want to talk about with the Americo is I'm really big on doing the Americo app in almost every home. The nice thing about Americo versus the other ones is like Aetna, American Amicable, you have to go through the entire app to know if they're approved. Americo, there's 3 pages to fill out. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it will literally give you a green light or a red light. It'll tell you yes or no, right? So that is really important to do. Most times I do it before I even start giving pricing. So when you're in that piece, it's really just like social, address, things like that. It does ask you to put in a face amount. So if I'm talking to Julius and he told me he had something I wasn't sure, like let's say he had a heart attack 5 years ago, but he was on a med that I wasn't sure of, it wasn't on there, and I didn't know, all I would say is, okay, great. So after I have the financial inventory, I'd say, so Julius, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick prescription check on you. I just want to make sure that we can go this direction, and it'll just take a couple minutes. And they're like, okay, no problem. So you just get the information in. on the page where it asks you to put in the face amount, since you haven't talked about numbers, just put in a dummy amount. You can change that afterwards. So if you're doing Americo Eagle, I just put in 10,000, to do the quote or to put it through. Once you sign it, if it says that they were approved for guarantee, which is 10,000, do not run that. Call your upline back or text them and let them know that they were declined. And then we'll give you another one. I think a lot of new agents accidentally write that product. Let's say their client only wanted 10, and so they'll do it anyway, but we do not write that product. It's a 4-year waiting period. It's not the best thing for our client. Okay. So if that happens, pivot. But I did just want to point out that whatever number you put in there, just get either the yes or no, and then you can change that number later. But don't talk about numbers prior to knowing that you can go Americo.
All right, let's answer another question. So Danny Z asked a question. Do you explain all benefits of the policy you're offering before showing the options for them to choose? The answer is yes. So let me explain the flow that you should have. We're selling benefits. We're not selling price. If you're just always trying to sell price, you're not going to do very well here, guys. I can assure you that. You need to be selling benefits, okay? Value. The value is what's going to sell this. The value of the problem you're solving, right? A lot of people are like, well, this one's cheaper. I'm like, this one's better. It has more value, right? It's not about price, guys. It's about value. So the flow you should have is after you call your manager, and let's just say Erica called and she's like, hey, here's the situation. I'm going to say, okay, the company we're going to look at, I'm going to tell her the company and the product, for example, we'll say Americo Eagle Premier. However, the flow to the customer should be like this. Number one, you should explain the benefits first. So for example, if we're doing Americo Eagle Premier, it's a whole life. So you're going to explain to your customer these benefits. Hey, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, we'll just say Bob and Mary. So Bob and Mary, we're going to look at a whole life for you. Okay. There's a few different benefits that will help you make sure that your final expenses are covered. Number one, it's permanent coverage. What that simply means is this will be coverage for as long as you live. It will not expire. Number two, your price is locked in, which simply means that your price will never go up, right? So as you get older, you're on a fixed income and you retire, you're not going to have to worry about a price that goes up and impacts your budget and your discretionary income. It's going to be a fixed price and you know what it's going to be from here on out. Number three, your benefits will be the same. So if you decide to go with this max coverage of 30,000, you'll always have 30,000 in benefits. That's the third bullet. Your benefits stay the same. The fourth is for Americo Eagle Premier, you have accidental built in. So if God forbid you pass from an accident, it's going to pay double the amount of the policy. So we do that. If we can get you approved for this 30,000 and you pass in the event of an accident, it's going to pay $60,000. Okay. And last but not least, it's going to have cash value. So down the road, maybe 15, 20 years, if you decide you don't want this policy anymore, you can take your cash value out, or you can use your cash value to pay your monthly premiums. So that's what you're going to explain in terms of benefits. That way it helps the customer connect the dots. Then you show the options, and then you ask the magic question. Hey, we don't know if we can get you approved today, but if we could, which one of these is the best plan for your final expense coverage to cover your daughter? Okay. So I hope I answered that question, Danny, or Daniel, I should say. All right. You want to take the next one, Erica? All right. It says, I say this doesn't depreciate in value like money in your savings would. I mean, you can say that, but I would say it the way I said it.
Yeah. If you can't get the client to agree to do the app, do you leave anything behind with them? I don't. I've never had any luck. I've been doing this for 10 months. I've had one client call me back that I've done a presentation with that did a think about it. So I don't even do it. If in the beginning you get pushback and it's not, I mean, it's really your call, but I buy those business cards. And so I leave. If they don't see the value today, they're not going to see it later.
And yeah, you want them to make a decision. If they make a decision, great. If they don't make a decision, they've actually made a decision, and it's usually no. Erica, how do you cement an appointment? That's what Andrew's asking. After they're approved, you're done with the application, how do you cement the appointment?
So I cement the appointment, one, with this sheet that we go over. So when I'm done with the application, as I'm waiting for it to do the underwriting, I'm filling this out, which has the policy, their application, the carrier we went with, all of that. So I'm filling this out. And then basically, I always leave, I always leave the sales material with them so that they have something tangible and they remember what they were doing. So make sure you order these. So I say, so Julius, I'm going to leave you with a few things. This is what we decided on doing. So I'm going to leave that with you to review. I'm going to leave my business card with you. Can you grab your phone and add my phone number in? This way, if you have any questions, you need me, I'm not going to just be here for your beneficiaries. I'm going to be here for you as well. So if you ever need to make any changes or have anything, just reach out to me directly. I also take pictures with every single client. I don't always post them on Slack, but I take a picture with every single client. And what I tell them is, when I take the picture, I just say, Julius, I like to save these so that when you call, I know exactly who you are. I see a lot of families. I want to make sure I know it's you, right? And then they are like, okay, perfect. And then I say, and then the last thing I'm going to leave you is this form. This is going to walk you through exactly the next steps. This is letting you know that your application has been accepted, that it's not to be confused with approved. You have not been approved. We just put this through. The office is going to call you in X amount of days. This is what we did. This is the premium. Now, Julius, is there any, did I do a good job today? Is there anything else that, do you have any questions? So I always switch it up, but I do always like to ask how they feel about how I did. So do you feel like I did a good job today? Do you feel like I answered all of your questions? I want them to kind of give me a report card on how I did, and 99 times out of 10 they're always going to say, yeah, you were great, and okay, perfect. Well, if you know anyone that needs anything like this, any kind of final expense, mortgage protection, please feel free. A referral is always the best compliment.
All right, there's a few good, that was great. There's a few questions here on pivots. If we get a decline, I'll handle that one. So okay. If we get a decline, whether it's Americo or any other carrier, I simply say, okay, so it looks like that carrier is not going to be an option. We're going to look at another carrier here. Our goal is to see where we can get you the best fit. Just something simple like that. You don't have to go into a lot of details. Don't say they got declined. If you tell someone they got declined, like you use that word, it comes off like a smack in the face. So you don't, hey, I did that when I first started. Hey, you got declined. Let's go. We're going to look at another carrier. And now all they're stuck on is, well, why did I get declined? I don't get it. What do you mean I got declined? Why did I get declined? Right? So they get so hung up on it. So you just want to soften the wording. Hey, so it looks like that carrier won't be an option just based on your prescription history. We're going to look at another carrier for you. And my goal today is to get you with the best carrier at the best price or the best value, right? So that's what you just quick little transition line like that. And then you're over to the next thing, right? If you put a lot of emphasis on that, then they're going to be stuck on that, and that can hurt you from actually helping them out. Jay asks, do you have them sign the refusal form? Yeah, one way to help them make a decision, guys, is say, they're like, well, I want to think about it. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, I'm only allowed to see you one time. So either we have to request coverage today, or I have to have you sign a refusal of coverage form. Well, what do you mean, Julius? Well, it means I'm only able to see one client. I'm only able to see you one time because we get thousands of these a day. And if we had everybody trying to call us back after we've seen them and they've had a chance to think about it, we wouldn't be able to help all of the new clients requesting this information. So we need to either request coverage today. What all that's going to do is we're putting in an application to see if we can get you covered. If you do get approved, we're still going to have the opportunity to increase or decrease your coverage. So no, you're not locked into that one option there, but it's first finding out if you're approved, then we can adjust. Or two, if you're just not going to do this, then we have to refuse your coverage and you're going to refuse all these benefits. And then I pause. And then if they're adamant about signing the refusal of coverage, then they obviously don't want coverage. If they're like really serious about thinking about it, then they're going to fill out an application for coverage. And you can even just be like, hey, we're going to submit an application for coverage. That's going to give you time to think about it. And that'll allow you time to adjust if you need to go up and down with the amount of coverage that you want.
Yeah. Danny asked, when he shows up to a house and they think that the government was going to pay for it, how does he pivot to make that sale? I think it's important to challenge your clients. And if I'm sitting with someone and they tell me that, and they had just told me they were 65, I am not shy to say, Julius, you are 65 years old. You've lived long enough to know that nothing is free. And like, so I kind of make a little bit of a joke about it, but also I am putting it on them. Like, you really thought you were going to get free insurance, right? So, and then I just pivot and I say, but there are new plans for 2021 that are really affordable. That's why I'm here today. So, and then I just jump kind of into the presentation and try to get the questions. Now, if they're very adamant that they can't afford anything and they're broke as a joke, like, pack up your stuff and leave. But there are a lot of times that where they think it was going to be free and you can still save that and get, a $400 or $500 premium out of it.
Awesome. Let's see what else we got here. How do you start doing travel trips? Well, first you want to have success in your home location and be able to write policies, help clients. And then when you're ready to run travel trips, just reach out to your manager. Let's identify a few places that would make sense. You want to get your license there first. We'll identify a place where there's a ton of leads, and then, we'll help you plan that.
I want to double click on that, Julius, because I'm getting a lot of questions about that because of the hoopah from Josh Williams' call where everyone's excited to travel. Okay. The main purpose of traveling is to just go where the leads are. So if you're in an area where you have leads at your disposal constantly and you don't have to worry about it, there's really not a huge need to travel. If you want to travel, great. But for those of us that are running, I'm constantly traveling because I'm in Arizona where there's a lot of agents. So just keep that in mind. With traveling, there's other expenses. So it's not something that you want to jump right into. Get good at it before you do that.
Awesome. I think we hit most of them. If they get declined and go with another product and it's more expensive, how do you mention it? Just be very matter of fact. The best thing about this business, guys, is just be very direct. Clients want you to be direct, and one key line you can say before you even get into it. Guys, do I have your permission today? Do I have your permission today to be very direct and straight, open, and honest with you? They're all going to say yes. They will never say no. Okay. So start with that, because once they give you permission to be open, honest, and direct, no matter what you say, it's going to be taken with good intention.
I think we don't focus on the decline, Julius, but when it comes to price increase, I do kind of zone in on the fact that they're the ones that are unhealthy and they've waited this long. So I kind of use it to help me make that sale. Like, Julius, you just got declined, and I understand that it's a little bit more, but you just told me if we don't have this coverage, that Bella doesn't have anything. Right. And so you just then at that point tie back in their beneficiary, get that emotion out of them a little bit more, and then just reiterate, they're not going to suddenly get approved for this kind of coverage. It's only going to get worse. You're only going to get older. You're only going to get more prescriptions. So build that value of doing something now before you have no options. And then this option sounds a little better than no option.
Yep. There was something asked about the government paying for it earlier. But by the way, Social Security Administration only pays up to $255. So if a customer ever asks that, the max you can get from FSI is $255 for burial, which doesn't cover anything. And they have to meet certain requirements. So just keep that in mind. Erica, let me ask you this question. Someone messaged me privately. How many leads do you think you need to purchase to set 30 appointments in a week?
I don't go off of leads. I go off of dollars, because every lead has a different kind of value. All leads are good, but I really challenge you guys to get into the habit of doing a mix. I don't run one lead. I run 3 month, 1 month new. I do have some locked out as well. So I go based off of dollars. So I buy at least $1,000 per dial day, because if they're newer leads, they're going to be more expensive. So I may be if they're $50 leads, I may only be able to get 10 of them for $500. So that gives me 10 brand new. And then I'm going to go into the CRM and I'm going to get 50, of the older, or 500 of the older ones to make up for that. Right. So if there's a lead discount, you want to make sure that you guys aren't trying to save yourself some money. Just give yourself more opportunities at bat. So if you have a 30% off, buy 30% more, and you guys will see that your weeks will continuously increase. So I would say focus on the dollar. Don't do anything less than 800 per dial day. I think it just sets you up for failure. All
right. There was a question about notifying someone of approval. So everyone does it a little bit differently. Some people like to tell the clients in the home. I don't do that. I adopted what Grady was doing, which is elongating the sales process. So I typically know whether they're approved in the home, declined. If they're declined, I'm obviously pivoting to someone else, or if they were sent to underwriting. No matter, as long as they were approved or sent to underwriting, I do the same thing every single time. So what I say is, all right, Bob and Mary, so we send in your application. We're going to know within about a week if you're going to get approved. Shannon from my office, I have an assistant. You guys should get staff in time as your production goes up and your income can afford staff. But I'll have Shannon call you. She'll let you know the status of your application. Now, if you're approved, the carrier is going to send you the policy in the mail within about 7 to 10 days. Make sure you put that in a safe place. Make sure you know make sure that your beneficiaries know where that is in the event they obviously need that policy. And so we'll give you a call in a few days. And then also I'm your agent for life. So if you ever need anything, I'm going to be your local representative. You can call me directly. If you need to file any claims, you need to make any changes, you can call me or Shannon and we'll be able to help you out. All right. What else do we got? What if there are not that many leads available? That's never an issue, Stephanie. There's always leads, whether it's in the CRM, the different lead vendors, there's always leads available. So just get with your manager. We'll help you find leads. Whoever's on your iPhone, please mute the iPhone. It's the third time we've asked. Thank you.
In terms of discounts from work spots, they are random. We never know. All I know is it's worth it. It's $99 a month. If you just took advantage of that 35%, if you would have bought 2,000 worth of leads to stack you for the whole week, you would have saved like $800. That's 8 months worth of work spots. So just know that we're very fortunate to have cheaper leads than 90% of the companies, and to have a discount on top of that is absolutely insane. So you should be part of work spots. No questions asked. If you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll help you get on it.
You want to talk about Phone Burner real quick?
Yeah, so Phone Burner is an app that completely changed the game. When I first started 10 months ago, I was manually dialing. So if I had 150 contacts, I was dialing them. We triple dial every single dial. So I was losing a lot of time. And Phone Burner has come out. They gave FFL only exclusively a discount. And what it allows you to do is when you're in your CRM and you have your leads, you can export that into an Excel spreadsheet. You can put the numbers in multiple times so that it will triple dial, and literally you just press start dialing and it will dial for you. Most times it saves you like 40% plus of the time spent because you don't have any lag. The other thing it helps with new agents do is if you're new and you just got hung up, sometimes you can get emotional. In this business, the way to be successful is to detach emotion altogether. So when you're on Phone Burner and someone just hung up on you, they're going to dial the next person. You don't have time to stop and be upset about that call. You're just moving right on to the next. And it just helps you to get through more people so you can book appointments faster. So definitely do that. There is a discount code for that as well. So you can reach out to us.
I just dropped the link in the chat, guys. Go to that link. There's a training on how to use Phone Burner as well as the agency discount code if you don't already have it. So go on there. You don't need to leave a final wishes guide. If you have one, leave it. If you don't have one, not a big deal. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. Any final things? Erica, great job of hosting. Great job of walking everybody through the nuts and bolts. Guys, if you're not in GroupMe, if you're on this and you're not in GroupMe, reach out to your manager. I know there was a question asked. We will get you into GroupMe. GroupMe is our team chats. We will communicate that way. Guys, the purpose of this is to help you guys, okay? You can reach out to any one of us, whether it's myself, whether it's Erica, whether it's Clay, or any other of the leaders on here. Our job is to help you be successful. We want you to be able to help clients so that way you can earn the income that you guys want and earn and deserve, right? This is all about helping you guys. So if you guys need anything, reach out to us. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Let's grow. Let's grow. The goal from here on out is literally from here through the end of 2021 is double our agency volume. Why? It's not about the agency. It's about you guys. If we double our agency volume, that means you guys on this call are making more money and putting more protection in place for clients. So that's what it's all about, putting protection in place for clients, and each of you earning the amount of income you want to earn, whether it's part-time, full-time. We're here for you. We got your back. Let's all go out there. We're a big family. We want to help out. And that's it, man. God bless.
Awesome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks,
Have
guys.
a good night, guys.